Your personal development matters the most from where you are right now. Bring your career into new heights with our affordable and quality in-demand virtual training programs designed just for you. Give your career a boost with a course or a training from Stellar Training Consultancy Services and join thousands of professionals from different walks of life in a learning and development session that fascinates you, motivates you, challenges you to learn new things that you'll use forever in a career you'll love. Find the right training for you today here at Stellar Training Consultancy Services, bringing excellence to professionals.
You found us! If you're watching this, you might be looking for training certifications, workshops, webinars, or conferences that is affordable, accessible, reliable, and commendable. Stellar Training Consultancy Services can help you with your certification needs. From leadership and administrative trainings to general topics, we got it all here. With partners being served such as Department of Health, Philippine Coast Guard, Department of Labor and Employment, Department of Trade Industry, and many more organizations and agencies. There's no more reliable provider than STCS. So hurry, send us a message, and find excellence with STCS.
Ama namin, pakinggan mo po ang pagtawag namin sa iyong banal na pangalan. Basbasan mo po ang aming pagtitipon at kami kaluguran mo sa araw na ito. Pagyamanin mo po, Panginoon, at maging nakaayon sa iyong kalooban ang aming pagkikita-kita mula sa simula hanggang katapusan. Masalamin nawa namin ang layunin mong dakila sa aming buhay at may sagawa namin ngayon ang aming mga gawain na may kabutihan at pag-ibig sa aming kapwa. Kami po'y naninikluhod sa iyong harapan na kami iyong patnubayan at iwaksi sa aming kaisipan ang anumang masasamang kaisipan, inggit at pakikipag-alit sa aming mga kasama. Bigyan mo kami ng sapat na lakas at katalinuhan upang maibahagi naman namin ang aming makakaya sa aming mga kasama sa pagtitipon na ito. Panalangin namin ang lahat ng ito sa pangalan ng iyong bugtong na anak na si Jesus. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telas ng sinatanan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong bangaw, ay hinatang tula, kawin sa paglayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihingi, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may maghihingi, luman ang araw ng walhagin pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Okay, and the camera is rolling. Good evening, everyone, from here. I'm currently in Davao City, so I'd like to greet everyone a very pleasant evening. But I am guessing na hindi lahat tayo dito nasa Philippines, so some of you are from different countries, currently from different countries. So by the way, I'd like to introduce myself first. My name is Rio Fernandez. I will be your training specialist for today. And I'd like to confirm if you can hear and see me clearly. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can? Thank you, Sir Jonod, Miss Tony, Ma'am Beth, and to everyone who responded. So once again, we'd like to thank everyone for choosing us as your training provider. But this session would not be very effective unless all of us would share all our some of our thoughts, experiences, and of course the valuable lessons that we have learned from our day-to-day difficulties or some tasks that we were able to overcome. So I hope this will be a really interactive discussion so that all of us would be able to learn from one another. And to begin, speaking of interactive discussion, I'd like to hear from all of you first. Please state your name, your location, and a word that would describe your week. Any word lang. So I'll give you time to prepare. For now, I'll start with myself na lang. Ako na lang muna. Okay lang ba yun? So, my name's Rio. You can call me Ri. And medyo nasa ilalim. Nasa ilalim. Okay. Hold on. So, I'll probably have to increase the volume. How about this time? Is it better now? Yan. Okay, I'm very glad to know that. Sige po. All right, since it's better now, I'd like to continue. You can, yes, thank you so much, training team of STCS. My name is Rio Fernandez. I'm currently in Davao City, and I would describe the past week as a seemingly exhausting week. So this time, I'd like to hear from you naman. Sana very inspiring naman ng madinig natin for now kasi nakakababa naman ng mood yung first word ko. Let's start with Ma'am Cherry. Nakamute po kayo, Ma'am Cherry.
Yes, ma'am. Ano po yung natin question again?
Just your location po kasi nandito naman na yung ating name. Naka-project na siya sa screen. So location na lang and a word that would describe your week.
Okay. I'm currently residing at Taguig and working at Philippine Army as civilian employee. I am a collection and remittance specialist.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sherry. How would you describe your week po in one word?
Describe what, ma'am?
Your week.
Week.
Yes.
Busy po and yung workload ko ngayon is very hectic po yung schedule.
Busy. Thank you, Ms. Sherry. I guess most of us would relate to that, no? And this time, iibahin na lang natin, hindi na lang word. So, quote na lang that would describe your week. Ayan. Napaisip tuloy si Ma'am Melbeth. I'm excited. Si Miss Cherry kasi una ko napansin dahil sa background niya. Parang morning pa po dyan, Ma'am Cherry.
Ay, ano po, ma'am, evening na po. Nakabukas lang yung ilaw sa kitchen.
That's why. Okay, there's a room behind the room where you're in. Thank you po, Ma'am Cherry. Let's move on to Ma'am Melbeth.
Hi, good evening po. I'm currently in Pangasinan. Wala akong maisip na quote, but yun po yung week ko.
Sige po. Yung word na lang that would describe your week, if it's easier.
Yes, busy po, ma'am.
Busy. Same with Ma'am Cherry. So, very relatable yung inyong experiences. Okay, thank you everyone. And I will make it sure na all of us would be able to speak later on. All your thoughts would also be heard. But I don't think we have enough time for the introductory part anymore. So I'll have to share to you the screen now for our discussion this evening. Okay. So, as you all know, you have signed up for electronic documents and records management system training. Let's move on to the training rules. I guess you have seen this earlier already as you have witnessed the introductory video while waiting for the other participants. So, for the first 20 minutes, please turn on your camera, wear proper clothing. This is very important. Please be attentive and interactive during the discussion. Of course, please respect everyone as well. But sometimes kasi may mga technical difficulties tayo na urgent or emergency situation. So please communicate it with us dito sa chat box so that we know what happens to you or what may happen, knock on wood. Yeah, just communicate it with us. So here are your intended learning outcomes for this evening. First, you are expected to learn the basic foundations of EDRMS and the importance of it in your specific organizations. You are also expected to understand each factors affecting the success of EDRMS implemented in your organization. Also, we'll talk about its downside and its advantages in the organization which you belong to. And we will be creating a comparison of EDRMS over a workplace with no EDRMS. Another, demonstrate and classify important work EDRMS tools and software. And lastly, realize the essence of using EDRMS for excellent data control for remote workers, especially during a crisis or pandemic. We are already living with a pandemic, so there's even an ordinance in different regions na pwede na mag-remove ng mask, optional. Same ba dyan sa region ninyo currently? Optional na lang po ba yung mask? Ma'am Emily. Yes, by Miss Amy. Yes po, Miss. Ma'am Emily.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello? Can you hear me po?
Yes, ma'am.
Yan. So actually, I asked earlier if similarly dito sa region namin, optional na lang yung mask. What about in your region po?
Which one ang optional, ma'am? Please.
Ang pag-wear ng mask. Parang hindi.
Medyo nag-disrupt kasi yung ano ko yung connection ko. I'm sorry.
I see. Okay, we understand, Miss Emily. These are just one of the challenges talaga when it comes to webinars. And let's just be patient with one another, everyone. So to begin with our discussion, let me ask you this question. Do you currently have an existing EDRMS in your organization? Do you use it in your department, in the office? Sir Joselito, meron po ba kayong EDRMS currently?
Negative po, negative.
Wala pa currently. Okay. What about Mama Fella Ruado?
Negative din, ma'am. Manual printout.
Usually, paper documents pa yung mga hawak natin. Okay, thank you. So, of course, later on, we'll discuss in what ways can we obtain it, what are the possible ways to use it if we have it already, and how to implement it in our organization if wala pa tayo. So for those of you na merong EDRMS, how would you rate it? Ma'am Marie Lee Tan. It's Leah. Yeah.
Sa office kasi namin, we're not yet using the electronic record system.
Wow, okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. But what about the files that you use po? Before kasi i-print yung materials, of course, it has a soft copy. So where do you usually?
Andun sa CPU, ganon, then print out. Actually, kailangan talaga namin ng EDRMS for the cards. Mga personals. Okay.
Wow, point well taken. Thank you, ma'am. And of course, not only in private organizations, especially in service organizations, dahil I think there's a sound coming. Of course, we cannot maximize the service that we give to our customers if sa office pa lang natin, hindi na natin na ma-maximize yung storage na kailangan for our information. Yan. So, of course, tama yung sinabi ni Ma'am Maria, we all need an EDRMS system to be implemented. So what then is EDRMS? It's a type of content management system that refers to combined technologies of document management and records management systems as an integrated systems. It's specifically designed to manage the integrity of and provide desktop access to information using existing Office applications such as email, collaborative work systems, and other applications already installed. So earlier, I learned from Ma'am Maria na usually yung documents nila merong software. It's a good thing. It's one way of implementing or making use of the technology, maximizing the use of technology for the workflow of our office na mas seamless siya, mas mabilis, very nice. But yung files nila nakalagay sa desktop. The problem is that what happens now if something bad may happen to the desktop, if mawala yung file or if ever, knock on wood, may mangyari na, for example, emergency situation or the disaster, right? So we really need backup for that. But specifically, EDRMS would help us centralize the resource of our information or the document. So just think of it as a really huge cabinet na nakalagay sa isang department sa office ninyo or sa company ninyo. It's not possible that all the time when you need that information, you would go out of your office and go straight to 4th floor if doon nakalagay yung mga documents na kailangan mo, because it would take so much time. So that's why we really need a centralized location kung saan natin kukunin yung ating files. And one thing's for sure, EDRMS would allow us to share these files sa members natin na kailangan yung access for that files, right? But what happens now if lahat merong access? Merong access si supervisor, merong access yung ibang team members and si manager, right? So it can be easily hacked kapag sobrang daming nakahawak ng information na yon or ng file na yon. But with EDRMS, we can ensure, number one, the fast and efficient way of getting the file, and number two, the security of the file. Na kahit lahat tayo sa office merong access, we can maintain the security and confidentiality of that file. And that's very important kasi stipulated sa law natin ang Data Privacy Act. And we cannot just overlook it just because hindi pa na-implement sa atin yung EDRMS. Wala pang software yung company, walang budget to buy it, ayan, or kaya hindi pa talaga siya napag-usapan, unfortunately. So it would be better if we take the initiative to make our own EDRMS. And hopefully, the next meeting, this topic would come out in your agenda. Because there should be a centralized location of all files in the office. Na kaya yung sangkatutak na files, hundreds and thousands of files na kaya niya. Kasi we can make our own EDRMS naman. Lagay natin sa drive natin. I'm sure you're familiar with that. Sa emails ninyo. But the question is, mabilis nyo ba siyang makuha? Can you search for it and get that information immediately? Imagine if a customer would ask for a record and hahanapin nyo siya for a week. So the service that you give to your client would certainly be affected. But with EDRMS, you can get the information quickly and secured din yung ating documents. Electronic document and records management is used by organizations to manage documents and records throughout the document lifecycle from creation to destruction. So as makers and creators of these documents, we are responsible for its creation up to its destruction. Hindi pwede dahil tapos na natin gamitin yung document is hindi na tayo responsible for throwing it or for its destruction, for shredding the files. Up to the point that we have to shred it, dapat in control pa rin tayo. But this is not the only task that we are going to do in the office. Retention schedule, retaining and shredding of the files are not the only tasks that we do. In fact, 2 to 3% lang ito ng mga gagawin natin sa office, right? So why not make use of technology to do it for us? And why not make use of technology to make it faster? Imagine going straight to the office and seeing all of these files. Stress ka na nga, pagdating mo sa office, ito pa yung madadatnan mo. So it really needs a global shift from a paper, full of paper documents na company to a technologically advanced and adaptable na company. The global shift toward delivering service online requires organizations to evolve from using traditional paper files and storage to more modern electronic methods. And I'm pretty sure na nasimulan na ito, right? It's just that we really have to adapt to the ever-changing expectations of society, especially in business. We have to be updated. And also, we have to keep up with the new trends, especially in the software. Kasi dumadami yung files, and hindi naman pwedeng mapuno yung office natin ng cabinet, right? Isa pa, sobrang hirap mahanap ng files, especially if marami na. If nilalagay lang siya sa steel boxes and huge cabinets. EDRMS enables desktop access to information across an organization and provides security, access, version control, and audit functionality required for better practice information management. But this is not easy because it takes so much time for us to be able to learn completely a certain software. Buti sana kapag the body or the management presented us with a software, agad-agad matututunan na natin lahat. But of course, we have to be able to attend trainings and workshops in order for us to master this software. But the thing is that as technology evolves, nag-evolve din yung software natin. So our training should be continuous. And learning on how to use these software should also be continuous. And EDRMS can also deliver automated business processes, additional definitions such as workflows and approvals. So I have here a sample of EDRMS, EDMS. It's called Mayan EDMS or Mayan EDMS. This is what you usually see once you have access to an EDMS. Agad-agad, you'll see dashboard. So what you have here in the dashboard are the files that you have, the information that you need to take control of your records, right? So since we all work for the company, we really are the ones responsible for the records. All departments are in charge of the records. So we should be in control of these records para hindi tayo nagpapasahan kapag may hinahanap tayo, right? Also, you can have a fast and seamless workflow kapag meron kang EDMS, right? So let's say for example, someone hindi mo alam, but because of EDMS, you knew na merong naidagdag sa teammates nyo. Why? Because lahat ng teammates merong access sa EDMS. So, if you look at the second column dito sa total users, if may naidagdag na team member, then definitely magiging 7 na agad ang users na ito. Information sa data na ito. So, of course, you expect na ang dashboard mo, kahit wala ka namang ginawa, you will be updated with what's going on in the environment which you belong to. In the working environment, in the office, you would know kung ano dito na mga folders ang na-update na. And at the same time, you are also responsible for updating these files and documents, right? But certainly, mas madali siya kasi hindi ka na maghahanap sa drive. Na-experience nyo ba maghanap ng file sa drive? Ma'am Emily? I think Ma'am Emily has a problem with the internet connection. How about Ma'am Tony? Ma'am Tony, where do you store your files po?
Sa desktop lang.
I see. Okay. But for backup po?
Hard drive. Pero kasi naman hindi pa naman masyadong marami. So, kung backup siya, USB, the usual kasi ginagamit. Or sa Google Drive.
Oo nga.
Yun lang po.
Yes. Thank you, Ma'am Tony. Yes, so you can also make use of Google Drive for your EDMS. But the thing is that for premium accounts, kailangan pa rin nating magbayad, right? And whether we like it or not, mahirap i-manage yung drive files kasi they're composed of folders. And it's unlike EDMS na merong dashboard that would present us updated records agad-agad, right? Pwede naman nating ma-update yung Google Drive, but it will not update us on its own. Tayo pa rin yung mag-a-update sa kasama natin. Uy, meron akong dinagdag na files ha, dito na folder nakalagay. But with EDMS, you can see that on your own already. Pagtingin mo pa lang sa dashboard, right? Although, sabi ko nga, this takes a lot of effort on the part of the management and in your part as well because we have to spend time in training and in learning in the workshop para ma-master natin itong file. We'll talk about why we have to master the use of these EDMS or EDRMS. We'll have a full discussion on that later on. So for now, I think I'll have to stop sharing my screen kasi hindi ko na share yung sound. Yan. So this time I have shared it already. Please watch this video about EDRMS.
Every one of us files, and we do that all the time. For ourselves, we file our monthly bills, tax invoices, photos, receipts, because of regulatory requirements, in order to keep track of them, to make claims, and for sentimental reasons. For our corporation, we do the same. We file records of value, documents, invoices and contracts because of regulatory requirements, transactional evidence, as well as valuable information and knowledge. These used to be in hard copies, and we had a dedicated department, like the mailroom, to handle this. Times have changed. We've entered the digital age. Letters are replaced by emails, invoices, and now e-invoices. And everything is generated electronically. For example, e-filing, email filing, and so on. Mailrooms no longer function because we have bypassed them. Thus, important documents are left to the recipients to manage and file without the proper tools. This results in deletion of important emails and documents, employees not knowing how to locate the documents, or having no access to files because of organizational change or staff turnover. Documents are not traceable because each person files in his own way and only understands it himself. Non-compliance with regulatory requirements, thus breaching security. We have the solution. Knowledge Repository Information System, CRIS. CRIS will help you capture, share, manage and preserve both the electronic and paper documents for the entire record lifecycle. For example, CRIS gets files organized through a file classification plan and role-based organization chart to ensure relevant people file and access relevant documents and records. Saves important emails and their attachments using a smart mail organizer, an email management solution. Caters for the entire life cycle of the document, from creation to disposal. Complies with standards, easy to use and very safe. In short, CRIS ensures relevance, compliance, security and accessibility. It is trusted and proven by governments and many commercial organizations.
Okay. So from the video, what insight can you share po? Let's start with Sir Jonald.
Ano lang po, kasi usually I store my files using the Google Drive. So with this video, mas okay siya kasi halimbawa po sa isang department, so sabi niyo nga po kanina, mas makikita natin kung ilan yung number of users. So siguro using that software, diba, we need to log in also. And then ang nagustuhan ko diyan yung ano niya, may dashboard. So makikita mo kaagad kung ano yung kailangan ng files. Kailangan po.
Wow, thank you, Sir Jonald. We really have appreciated the importance of EDRMS from Sir Jonald's answer, as well as Sir Joselito. He says that it's easy access to specific files. So, oo nga, sir, it would not take us hours or even more than 30 minutes of looking for a file because we use EDRMS. Here are some of the professional organizations that provide EDRMS. First is the Association for Information and Image Management. If you forget about this, you'll have a copy of the presentation naman. So whenever you need the information, you can just make use of this presentation para ma-present niyo siya sa body if you are trying to propose, if you would propose EDRMS. Yan. Association of Records Managers and Administrators, or ARMA International. Information and Records Management Society. And of course, RIM, Records and Information Management Professionals Australasia. And so you can visit the information about these companies. And of course, it's not free, right? Because they provide certain softwares and they're software developers. So we'll have to pay for their intellectual property rights then. Meron din namang mga available EDRMS online. You can make use of Asana and Trello for starters kasi hindi naman sila binabayaran. I mean, they're free. You can use those.
Ma'am, question lang po.
Sino po? Si Sir Jonald. Yes.
Yeah. Okay din po ba yung yung sa SharePoint? Parang din po yun eh. We can store our files using SharePoint.
Ayun. Thank you so much for the question po, sir. Actually, I am not, I haven't tried SharePoint before, but I've heard about it. So, The good thing about these softwares is that anyone can make use of them if they're free, as long as before we implement them, we really plan it out. Of course, we have to ask, or we have to assess or evaluate the capacity of the employees na gagamit ng software na yun, right? So we really have to plan it out, and we also have to ask certain questions. We need some kind of evaluation sheet or papers or evaluation forms kung saan nakalagay doon ang mga questions related to the software na gusto nating ipagamit sa kanila. Kasi EDRMS really sounds nice, and also it's very helpful. But what if it's a burden to us? Especially if complicated siya gamitin for others, right? So yung EDRMS natin, it's not a question of what software it is, which one is better. It's a question of what is appropriate for our employees, for their levels, and how ready they are to make use of that software or that EDRMS implementation. So yun po, you can make use of any softwares po, SharePoint, from RIM, EDRMS, anything as long as appropriate po siya sa gagamit or sa majority ng gagamit sa organization. Kasi kukonti na lang yung ititrain, yan, kasi naka-base na siya sa majority. Any questions? Any other questions po? Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So, of course, there are also some disadvantages that we'll have to look into or consider when we implement EDRMS. But before we move to the disadvantages, these are the obvious advantages na makukuha natin with EDRMS. It creates a single source for everything. Second, it's cost-effective, although at first, mahal naman ito, 200,000. Grabe, saan ka may kukuha ng budget? But imagine if kukuha ka ng container van or kukuha ka ng warehouse, ang mahal na ng lupa ngayon, right? You would get all of those things para sa storage ng file mo. Kasi ayaw mong gumasto ng 200,000 for a software, right? But if you weigh down the cost, mas gastos pa ang pagkuha ng container van, warehouse, or land to store your files. And hindi mo rin siya makukuha agad-agad. So if ever nasa Taguig tayo and nasa Las Piñas yung ating storage, we'll have to go there pa. Hanapin pa natin doon. Takes a lot of time, right? Enhanced security. Yan. Encrypted kasi ang mga softwares. Kaya sila mahal. Sino lang yung may access, meron silang specific passwords. Yan. Bago siya ma-access. Yan. Okay. Seamless file sharing. Yan. So, madali lang siya kasi drag lang eh. From this folder, drag nyo lang from another. Yan. If meron tayong training, it's easier said than done kasi as a person belonging to this generation, I grew up in the world of technology, but there are some who are still catching up to the trend. So we'll really have to make time for them, and we'll have to give allowance for them to learn about these softwares. But there is also a downside of everything. And we have to learn about these disadvantages so that we can make a sound decision if sa office natin kailangan ba talaga o hindi ng EDRMS. It's a really huge decision to make. Especially now, natutunan ko kay Miss Tony, sabi niya, konti lang yung files nila. So, meron pang debate niyan kasi konti pa yung files nila. Do they really need EDRMS? So first is the dependency on technology. Of course, if wala kayong paper, wala kayong paper documents, brown out, or kaya may nangyari sa office, you cannot make use of your EDRMS in the office. Yan. So maganda naman sa EDRMS is that as long as meron kang password and access anywhere, anytime, pwede mo siyang ma-access in a different device. So kahit nasa malayo ka, you're using a different laptop, you can also access it. Pero, dependent ka sa technology. What if walang internet? Right? What if walang computer na sira, tapunan ng tubig? Okay, security. If hindi fully implemented yung EDRMS, I mean, kapag sinimulan siya, but hindi naman continuous ang training, napabayaan na kasi walang manager yung EDRMS. There's no focal person na in charge for that. Kasi nag-depend lang tayo sa technology and we did not assign someone to supervise EDRMS, then certainly yung security will be a problem in the long run. And of course, equipment cost. It certainly is costly because most of our EDRMS are developed by foreign nationals. Ayan. Kaya kailangan talaga natin na mga Filipino software developers din. Sana ma-integrate din siya sa education system. Okay. Comparison for EDRMS to non-EDRMS office. In terms of duplicating, sometimes we need duplicated documents, right? For different for different departments, kailangan meron silang copy nun, and at the same time, you as well na creator. With EDRMS, once naka-sign ang document, it's digitally accessible. But if wala tayong EDRMS, you will have to copy the document in one way or another. Punta ka pa ng photocopy shop or you'll have to go to the department kung saan may photocopier. In terms of filing and storage naman, with EDRMS, you can use a document and you can also store it or restore it whenever you need, anytime, anywhere. As long as may access ka, may password ka. Kapag wala naman, document must be stored to its exact location. What if that location, once again, is under a difficulty or probably may nangyari na disaster? We never know, right? Retrieval. Documents can be retrieved right away through enabled search engines or file locator options. But we really have to be careful in terms of file naming. So we have to abide by a certain file name format para madali natin siyang ma-retrieve. Especially if Google Drive yung gamit nyo. But with EDRMS naman, keywords lang yung kailangan. But with Google Drive, dapat meron talagang format. Start with the year, the month, the date, underscore, the file name. Okay, next, document and record controller spends valuable time locating the file. Sayang din yung oras. Marami pa tayong magagawa sana na KPI. And lost document. Could never lose document since EDRMS redistributes all backup copies to the original files to an assigned repository. And non-EDRMS office, 1 out of 20 documents is lost, unfortunately. Kasi sa sobrang dami niya ng duplications, yung original file, di na mahanap. Right? So, in the long run, yung original file yung kailangan natin, authentic, nawala na. Right? But you can protect that with EDRMS. And it doesn't necessarily have to be now. It's just that you have to talk about it, slowly plan for it, gradually plan for it. Di naman pwede forced ang implementation. Then right after, we can implement it. The good thing about it is that if your organization is not ready for it yet, in the long run, magiging ready rin kayo if you start planning now. Okay, let's move on to the flow of EDRMS. So it's the first stage, document capturing. So you have to scan the documents even though naka-ready na siya lahat sa ating EDRMS, ikaw pa rin yung creator ng file, and you cannot ask anyone or depend on anyone to scan the file that you have created. You have to scan it on your own, and this is stage 1. Okay, of course, it includes the importation of records and documents from paper file, for example, receipts, right? Hindi naman, when you create a receipt, not all receipts are created online. Some of them are paper-based. So you have to scan it. I think we have an input here. I think EDMS will be great for storing the 201 files in our office. Certainly, Ma'am Maria, with 201 files, sobrang daming kailangang i-consider, right? Because these are the information of the employees. And if you don't take control of these huge files, then certainly sobrang daming overtime that we will spend in the office. We'll spend more overtimes in the office. File server repository, MS SQL database server. This is stage 2. Nakalagay na sa server natin yung files. And you have to, minsan kasi when you upload something, oh, I have already uploaded it kasi nakalagay uploading. But if you know stage 2, nakatingin ka talaga sa monitor. And you will not take your eyes off it unless you make sure na nakalagay uploaded. That ends stage 2. But if uploading unsuccessful, then you have to redo the process. And please do not be complacent. Huwag tayo makampante about it. Because once again, we are responsible for the files we create. So then, because it's already there, you can share it whenever, however you want, right? Document retrieval and sharing, or the usage of the file. Nasa Amerika yung manager mo, nasa Philippines ka, but you can share the file. Document is now used as an attachment. Document is now forwarded for approval, and document is used as a compliance report. Okay. Document is now used for quality control purposes, right? So, of course, we have to evaluate, ask for feedback, improve our service. So, kailangan natin ng quality control. This is the simplified view. Collect and sort, you validate it kung ando na ba talaga, approve or deny the file, distribute or share it, archive. Ayan, automatic naman na ito. Anong hindi automatic? Uploading. Uploading and scanning. So, kailangan tutok na tutok ka talaga with that. Okay, I have here another video for the implementation of EDRMS.
As recent studies suggest, 6.3 billion documents are created each day. 85% of all documents are printed, and on the average, each one is copied 19 times. 7% of all documents are lost and 15% are placed in the wrong folders. Over 3.5 trillion documents are archived in a year. This figure grows by 20% annually. And 20% of all work hours are spent on just searching for documents. Are office hours long enough to finish today's work, to store and save for tomorrow, and to search for past records? Countless hours spent on creating and finding documents. More and more copies, more paper, more ink. Documents torn apart and lost, traveling in mail, in corridors, from one desk to another. More and more shelves, larger storage rooms. As Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we decided to put an end to all this and redesigned our digital document management system. With the new system, creating, sending, and forwarding a new document anywhere takes just a few seconds. Each document is stored in the relevant folder. Finding past documents is easier and faster. We saved on storage space, effort, and precious time. Now, original documents do not wear out. A digital document can be viewed by multiple users simultaneously. And most importantly, we preserve nature. Let's now take a closer look at the document management system. You can list all incoming and outgoing documents together or separately and filter them according to your needs. You can view the original document as a separate window on your screen. You can make personal notes on it and decide who can view these notes. The system tracks document history, when and by whom each document is created, approval information, and changes. You can view the attachments of a message and all related correspondence with a single Find Reference command. You can create a brand new document filling out all new information, reply with the Reply button, or prepare similar documents with the Create Template button. In the Details section, you can specify the type, level of urgency, recipients, and the subject of the document. The system assists you with data entry when you type in just a few characters. You can create recipient groups and save time corresponding with multiple recipients, or classify a document under multiple folders. The referred documents are automatically associated with the data field. This way, you can easily find all documents related to the same subject. Once all areas are filled, you can prepare your text with the help of the built-in editor. You can easily enter details of authorized users whose signature will be automatically inserted into the document. Sending hard copy documents to organizations outside the system is fast and simple, even with large distribution lists. Documents secured by e-signature are formally approved by authorized users with the Approve button. All hard documents received from sources outside the system are also scanned and stored digitally. The system's search engine provides quick and easy access to all documents. Just enter the specifics of the document you need in the search section and click. For standardization, all documents created in Document Management System are recorded in the same format. Ministry of Foreign Affairs communicates digitally with all other government units and organizations who have e-correspondence infrastructure. We also communicate with foreign missions in our country through e-notes. If you're a user in a managerial position, documents are also accessible 24/7 through email or on-tablet application. Time is precious. With Document Management System, it's only a matter of seconds to reach back to our past and create records for our future. Now, paperless office is not a far-fetched goal.
Is it not a far-fetched goal? So what do you think about the video, Ma'am Tony? Okay, I think Ma'am Tony will be back in a while. Let's ask Ma'am Sherry first.
Yes, ma'am. Regarding ma'am sa video, yung EDRMS po is accessible and very convenient. Actually, nag-start na ata sa office namin ma'am ng electronic document. Kaso, hindi pa siya implemented masyado sa amin ma'am. Madami pa pong i-scan.
I see. So, siguro, nag-start muna sa MIS or Management Information System department. Then, later on, they will train you about it in other departments. So, that's great because we should be part of the revolution in terms of technological advancement talaga. But, sabi nga sa video, sobrang dami naman nun. Ang daming kailangan pagtutunan, gawin. It's very complicated, right? So, once again, we'll have to take a look muna bago tayo bibili ng isang EDRMS. Not because it worked for another company that is successful, doesn't mean that it would also work for us in the same way that it worked for them. So because our company has its own mission, vision, and goals, and it has its unique employees with different set of abilities, then certainly, hahanap talaga tayo ng EDRMS na appropriate for the members of the organization kasi maganda naman talaga yung EDRMS na ito that was presented in the video, but is it really what your organization needs? Is it the type that would help your organization make your work more efficient and productive, or will it hinder you from doing so? Yeah, so let's move on with its limitations this time. An EDRMS is enabling technology. Implementation must be based on an established records management program, including approved retention schedules, policies, and procedures. Tools and training will need to be provided to guide change management. So, kailangan clear yung transition natin from the paper-based operation to a technology or digital-based operation. And as I've said earlier, this is not possible at all if no one would spearhead and lead the organization into this. If there's no focal point or chairman in this transition, then it would be impossible to manage the shift from a paper-based production to a digital-based production. So pipili talaga tayo ng leader if ever merong chairman ng ating EDRMS implementation. Training is essential to the success of an EDRMS. Training will need to be provided to all staff, but may also need to be tailored to target the specific needs of individual business areas. Staff will also need training in any new business rules or tools that have been put in place as part of an EDRMS implementation, such as how to use a new record schedule and records classification system. Training sometimes can be misunderstood as a one-day process. It's a continuous process, so there should be a schedule for the training. And once nag-training na kayo, of course, you have to do it weekly as many times as possible. And yung training, meron siyang monitoring. Hindi pwede na hindi natin i-monitor yung progress ng mga tinitrain na employees. Otherwise, the whole process is a waste of time. Okay. Let's breathe, inhale, everyone. Try to relax your muscles na sobrang tense. This time, let's take part in a very short quiz lang din. It's just test of the water. So we'll just test what is the first stage in EDR. This is what we have to guess, or perhaps answer based on what you have learned earlier.
Document capturing.
Well done. Thank you so much, Sir Donald. Tignan ko muna. Yun, from Mafella. Okay. In the early stage of EDRMS, document controllers and records personnel should be able to capture important documents through scanning, indexing, and importing. What is this? Okay, this is the first question. Second question. What department is or involved in EDRMS? Take your time po. Ayan, Sir Joselito says it's all. Okay, thank you very much, Sir Joselito. You got it absolutely correct. The implementation When the organization decides to have EDRMS, it is expected that it will be practiced by used by everyone in the organization, just like any other systems. But maganda din yung strategy ng company nila, Ma'am Sherry, na they started with the team that is the most capable of making use of the EDRMS. And then after na-master na nila yung EDRMS, the team can train different departments in it as long as they would consider everyone. Kasi lahat naman gumagawa ng records, right? So they should know how to take control of the records they make. Where do we put our EDRMS? Where do we store them in EDRMS? We have an answer. Ma'am Melibeth says repository, database, and server. Sir Joselito says database and server. And both of them are correct. Then managed and controlled through a management server during the importation of scanned and indexed documents. But it will only happen if you have made sure that the files have been uploaded. Okay, I think this is the last question. First stage is capturing. What about the third stage?
Document indexing.
Sorry po, sir. What was that?
For me, Mama, I ano lang. I think it's document indexing. Kasi pagka na-input mo na, kailangan mong lagyan ng ano, parang label.
Ayun. Okay. Thank you so much, Sir Donald. Ma'am, sorry po. Okay. Thank you, Ma'am Tony, for communicating with us the situation. For Sir Joselito, archival. Ayan, document archival. The both of them have good points. Yan, Sir Joselito says archival and Sir Donald says indexing. So which one of them is correct? Let's see. Ayan. So, nagamit mo na yung file, that's the last stage. So document archival and document indexing, they're both part of the second stage. All right, so thank you so much everyone for taking part in that very short quiz. I think we all need a health break. So let's be back by 8:20 p.m. Hi, everyone. Can you hear and see me? Can you hear me well? Okay, let's check if you're already here. I hope you have had a good break, everyone. But at the same time, I hope you also still remember the first half of our discussion this evening. What struck you the most in the first half of our discussion, Ma'am Mafella? Ano po yung pinakatumatak sa inyo, ma'am?
That we need to adapt to the ever-changing or fast-changing system of the records management.
Yes, and thank you, ma'am. And certainly, it doesn't end here once we've mastered a software. Of course, in the long run, meron namang bagong darating, and we have to certainly be updated with the trends. Yan, para hindi rin naman tayo mahuli in terms of technology, right? Because we have to be chosen by the customers, and kailangan manguna talaga tayo. Electronic document and records management tools and softwares. Let's talk about Kintone. There are plenty of end-to-end document management and electronic record-keeping systems available online. Gaya ng sabi ni Sir Jonald earlier, SharePoint is one of them. While other organizations dedicate a huge amount for their independent and exclusive database. Here are some examples of the available online tools. Kintone by Google Drive. Meron kang free trial, but of course it's only for you to get to know the product better. For you, if it works for you, if it's complicated, if it makes simple, if it makes everything simple. Yan. So you have 30 days to get to know the product better. But you'll have to pay after 30 days if you still want to keep using it. Okay, let's talk about the importance of EDRMS tools.
Imagine becoming a paperless company where documents follow your business process automatically. Meet Odoo DMS, a tool to organize your documents for every department, and tags to support workflows as classifications. Let's see how to operate an efficient finance department. Using the email gateway, bills are created automatically from your scanner or from vendor emails directly. Accountants can preview documents in their inbox and chat instantly if they have questions. In one click, the document is converted to a vendor bill for your accounting team. With Odoo's artificial intelligence, the fields are automatically filled in. No need to record bills manually ever again. The accountant just has to validate it with a click. Let's see how fast it is to process a bunch of documents. We have 30 documents in the inbox. These 10 documents are bills. Let's push them to the accounting team. This 4-page document comes from the scanner directly. Let's split it into individual bills. Page 1, page 2, and a 2-page bill on 3 and 4 are all split. We can now push these bills to the accounting team. This one is a contract. With predefined actions, in one click, I can create a task for the legal department and tag the document. That's it. This document needs to be signed by the CEO. Let's get the job done quickly with just the click of a button. In just a few seconds, I have processed my inbox. As documents are perfectly organized, everyone gets access to the information they need and collaboration gets much easier. Documents can even be shared with customers and vendors, keeping everyone connected. Odoo DMS is perfectly integrated with other Odoo apps, like PLM, eSign, accounting, and tasks. Try Odoo DMS now. It's free. Odoo, business made easy.
And so that's one example of a free software. Pwede rin naman Kinton yung gamitan nyo. Pwede rin naman Odoo. But that's one example for the accounting department. Yeah. So if you can make use of your EDRMS to store files, you can also use it to communicate effectively with the other members of the group, with the other members of the team. Right? Doon na, hindi na kayo palipat-lipat, punta kayong email, punta kayong messenger, punta kayong Slack, and then you'll have to store the files based on the information you got from messenger or email. Doon na kayo mismo makakapag-communicate with Odoo. Now, we have a governing body, certification body, ISO, based on 9001 standard. So we have a specific set of standards that we have to show them for QMS. They will be checking these standards so that they would be able to in turn give us certification, right? But how are they going to do that if kapag dumating na yung auditing team, dun pa tayo file ng mga documents, right? Dun pa tayo nag-file ng folders, dun pa tayo humanap ng central point ng information. So, of course, matatagalan yung process. And itong mga standards na to, we have to show it to them based on evidence. And we are expected to comply with these evidences. So the first expectation for us is to capture, identify, store, and dispose of business records according to policy. So first and foremost, you need to have a policy for document records. And of course, yung policy ninyo is not only for compliance, but for management. So you really have to follow through every step of the policy. And dapat documented lahat ng procedure. So if you say we follow this policy, we follow capturing, identifying, and disposal of records, unless you present documentation to show them that you really do follow the policy, they won't believe you. And it's easier, certainly, for you to show these documentations through EDRMS. May schedule yung EDRMS eh. So we just put our files there and automatically it will delete the obsolete files, the unupdated files on its own, right? So this is how our system works. But this has to be very simple for the users. Because if it's not simple, then nakakadagdag lang siya ng sakit ng ulo. I just saw an Odoo billboard in Manila yesterday and I was curious what it was all about. Glad that you're curious document session accordance to the comply in terms of security. Be able to define procedures that are specific to the policies of your organization. It should be able to avoid financial risks stemming from fines, penalties, and non-compliance. So this here naman is not to threaten us. You do not follow the policy, you have penalties, you have fines. It's a very negative way of looking at it. So we'll have to make use of EDRMS and compliance as a way for us to lessen our tasks or lessen our burden in the workplace. And of course, to strive for a healthy and safe environment sa atin because we deserve it as workers. Your EDRMS should be able to include email in records management practices, improve auditing with activity logging, and fast process verification. This is a lot, but with EDRMS that is appropriate for you, everything would be simpler and faster. Here are some 5 core factors that drive a successful EDRMS implementation. What do you need? Number 1, you need clear business goals. If you want to buy or purchase EDRMS, you have to lay down all goals in accordance to that EDRMS. If you just saw a company na successful with EDRMS and you want to apply it, then you should rethink again, right? It should not be based on anyone else's experience. It should be based on our goals. It's vitally important at the outset the business needs and rationale surrounding the process are clear and understood, not only for the management, but all employees. They might say, unsa naman pud ni? They might say, what is this? Dagdag pasanin na naman. Dagdag aralin, and it takes too much time, right? So there will be some resistance on their part. And if there's resistance, we're not working as a team anymore that has the same goal. So we'll have to make them understand the goal first. Also ask if it's helpful for them or not. Processes must have solid business reasons for being undertaken and must support the overall strategy of the organization. It should be supportive of whatever we envision our company to be in the future. Number 2, you need to have records management strategy. You have to ensure that your records are clearly managed under a certain strategy, and this strategy cannot be taught from anyone, but you have to plan this strategy on your own. Okay, so you may develop a strategy of your own. Pwede, you can adopt a successful strategy from a very huge corporate or company, but only if it's helpful for your organization. User buy-in. Yeah. Very important na when we buy something, we use it. There are a lot of victims here na nasa scam because in terms of marketing, very nice yung outcome ng product. And we have personal experiences of these, right? When we look at some e-commerce shop online, we buy stuff that we may think we need. Pero pagdating niya, hindi pala natin gagamitin because it's not helpful. So, it's a burden personally. How much more if our company is huge and it affects hundreds of individuals, right? So if we're not gonna use it, might as well not buy it. But if we have bought it already, we have to make sure that the training is complete, that we see through it at the very end until its progress, until ma-update na siya na system. Right? Kasi sobrang malaking mawawala sa atin if we buy something that hindi naman natin gagamitin. So, Our management should be very supportive, and at the same time, we have to work collaboratively to make this happen. That's why we have to choose wisely. Plan thoroughly kung anong technology yung gusto na natin i-adapt. We have to also use project planning and control. Earlier, we've made mention about a focal person who should be responsible in spearheading the transition from paper-based production to a digitally based production, right? And this is for the purpose of controlling the work, developing and monitoring plans, managing stakeholders' expectations, not only stakeholders, but the customers' expectations. We have to exceed their expectations of us. Risk management, configuration management, change control, and sign off of products. Okay. It's worth ensuring that you have a project manager who is sufficiently capable to manage the project and has adequate time to spend on it. 3 hours per week from a junior person is unlikely to suffice. So it would not work for just anyone, right? So kailangan talaga natin pumili ng isang expert to do this. And hopefully, meron tayo sa department or sa company. But if not, then we have to get external project manager for this if we're really serious about it. So let's discuss these questions together to sum up everything that we have learned in this discussion, tonight's discussion. So earlier, sabi niyo, wala pa kayong EDRMS, minsan gumagamit ng Google Drive, minsan sa desktop, right? So in terms of security, how secure are your documents and reports currently? Can you rate it from 1 to 10? 10 would be the most secure. 9 by Sir Joselito. Oo nga, kasi meron na silang implemented EDRMS. What about the others? So just take a look back in your experiences. Have you undergone pressure and stress from looking for a file that you don't know kung andun pa, wala na? Pero alam niyong kailangan for auditing, accreditation. So how secure are your documents currently? You can just type here in the chat box. So I think kailangan ko rin sumali dito. I would say it would be 8. Kasi naka-password yung document namin. Mostly. Yeah, but not all. 7 by Mama Fela. Oh, that's a good number. Mama Maria also a 7. Okay, at least it suggests that we have control over the documents that we release and the documents that we shred or dispose of. 8 by Ma'am Sherry. Considering na wala pa kayong EDRMS, this is a really good number and a sign that before you implement EDRMS, certainly may debate pa yan. Kasi mataas na yung number eh. That means ang need for EDRMS is not that urgent. Ma'am Emily says 9 to 10. Wow, 9 to 10, almost the perfect score for 9. Provincial, expected, mga 8 lang. Okay. All right, thank you, Ma'am Emily. This is a not so alarming number. I mean, I'm glad to receive these responses. It means you are working your way towards a centralized department for information or centralized source for information. Maganda kasi yun na alam nyo kung saan talaga kayo pupunta if meron kayong documents na kailangan, right? So you can have a department for that, or you can have an EDRMS for that. What about Sister Jonald? How would you rate your and Sir Melvin as well?
Sa amin po ma'am kasi sa department siguro kasi we're just using the Google Drive and lahat ng member po kasi namin may access. So ang ginagawa ko lang po kasi is ano lang yung minsan pwede silang mag-edit. So minsan hindi nila sinasabi kung ano may mga napapalitan doon. So siguro ang score ko is nasa ano lang 6.
I see. Oo, pero sir, you would know po kasi doon sa panel ng activity nakalagay kung sino yung nag-edit ng document, 'di ba po? You would know it. Pero hindi natin alam kung saan doon. Anong part doon sa document ang na-edit ng teammate?
Yes, so kailangan i-review mo ulit.
Takes too much time.
Ano yung yun.
Okay, so I guess it's not that secured, but I would suggest if hindi pa talaga fully implemented ang EDRMS or if it's impossible for now, then you have to make use of your own Gmail for all employees. Like, for example, hindi siya at gmail.com nag-i-end. Doon talaga siya based sa corporate na email. Kasi it's not going to be accessible for all if you use a corporate email. Yan. Kasi kung sino lang yung may hawak ng corporate email, siya lang din yung makakapag-edit ng file, makakabukas. Do you use corporate email po ba? Right now? Or yung own Gmail niyo po na account yung ginagamit niyo?
Meron po sa amin deped.gov.ph.
I see. Okay, that's nice. Thank you po, sir. So currently you're affiliated with DepEd.
Yes, ma'am. But right now po kasi naka-vacation leave ako. So wala po ako ng first quarter ng ano namin.
I see. So sobrang hirap mag-implement basta-basta ng EDRMS kapag centralized yung decision making. Right? Okay. At least probably you can apply it to yourself na lang po. You can make use of EDRMS
Yes.
in managing
And then
your
yung mga pinresent nyo pong mga sample na EDRMS, pwede kong magamit po yan. Siguro i-practice ko lang po pag-aaralan yung mga ano niya, interface niya, mga dashboard kung paano gagamitin.
Certainly. Thank you so much, sir. And probably 2 to 3 years from now, magugulat kayo. By that time, yan na yung training and workshop sa DepEd teachers. Pero mastered nyo na. Kagaya ng Canva. Before kasi hindi pa yan widely used. And now, yung mga teachers, they are trained for Canva.
Yes, ma'am. Kasi before nag-attend ako niyan sa DICT din. So doon ako na pinatrain.
Wow.
Then I share it with my colleagues na rin.
Wow, yun yung pinakamaganda. Share talaga yung knowledge. Thank you, sir. And how about this one? Is your organization still in the paper-based documentation? Or not anymore? Paper-based pa ba lahat? Please use the reaction button, raise hand. Kung paper-based pa. Sa amin kasi mixed tayo na hybrid setup. Thank you, Sir Joselito. Same here. Mixed din. Yan. So, a mix is an indication na we are slowly transitioning talaga from a paper-based to a digitally based operation in the workplace. So perhaps 10 to 15 years from now, you'll see less and less of paper materials in the office. Okay, that ends our discussion on EDRMS. Thank you so much for participating, especially during the quiz B earlier. So your certificates will be given within 24 hours. But for now, if you have any questions, you may send it here in the chat box, use your microphone. And if none naman, please turn on your camera so we can have the photo up. While waiting for others, if you have any questions regarding our company, and please send us a message on our Facebook page and email us. Okay, I guess this is everyone. Ma'am Emily, are you okay po? Ayan. All right. 3, 2, 1, smile. Thank you for your time, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you po,
For the
ma'am.
rest of the night.
Everyone. Good night.
Your personal development matters the most from where you are right now. Bring your career into new heights with our affordable and quality in-demand virtual training programs designed just for you. Give your career a boost with a course or a training from Stellar Training Consultancy Services and join thousands of professionals from different walks of life in a learning and development session that fascinates you, motivates you, challenges you to learn new things that you'll use forever in a career you'll love. Find the right training for you today here at Stellar Training Consultancy Services, bringing excellence to professionals.